All right, so this is a guide on how to buy a house at 25 years old, or if you're younger, or if you haven't bought a house yet and you're at 30. If you feel behind, don't feel behind. It's okay. We're in late stage capitalism. So basically, what happens in late stage capitalism is pretty much everything that's happening right now. It's the gig economy, wages are not the same, and definitely buying a house is very difficult because these large companies are buying up houses. So what can we do about it, right? So we could be here and complain about it, post on social media, but what can you actually do about it? So I bought a house at 25 years old. I had no daddy's money, nothing like that. I was just smart and lived frugally. So what exactly does that mean? So pretty much what I did was I worked a job and then I did something on the side. Personally, I resell stuff on the side. That's what I did on the side. I've seen where other people, they'll buy a house when they're younger by just working like 2 or 3 jobs, which is, I know, ridiculous. And I know this sounds really dumb, but like if you're not able to have a living situation before you own a house where you're like, say, living with your parents but paying them like a menial amount of rent, like cheap, like family rent, if you get what I'm saying, or I would think the other option is basically just have like an RV and like live in your car. Because the thing is, if you just pay rent and you keep paying rent, you're not really gonna, in my opinion, get ahead. Like, because the thing is, when you're paying rent, you're basically just paying rent to the landlord to then use that money to pay off the mortgage. So, and I know this sounds like a lot of, it's like, okay, like that's obvious. So what are the actual steps you can take? What are some actionable steps today that you can take? I would say number one is know your buying power. So go to your bank and figure out, and this is the thing too, if you're somebody that has like income that's not W-2 income, you're like a contractor, don't go to the big banks. They're just going to shut you down. If you're a person that has a W-2, you can maybe work with one of these like big banks, and you know what I'm talking about by big banks, right? So I would say the more small local banks, talk to them. They want to give you money. That's their entire job, is to give you money. Go and talk to them, and they'll give you the game plan, because you got to think about it. They're financially incentivized to figure out how to get you money, right? Because they make money off of lending you money. So you got to talk to the small local bank. Go in there. What I did is I just went in there. I said I wanted to have a conversation with the business banker about getting a mortgage. I went in there. It took 2 years. 2 years. I went into the bank, and 2 years after that, I was able to get a house. And the reason why is you would think, oh, I just need to make more money. But that's not it. You have to make money how they want you to make money. You have to make money in a specific way, have specific, numbers on your pay stub, have very specific, type of income. And they want to see consistent income. And that's the thing, is I'm not a banker. They'll explain that to you. You have to go into your small local bank and basically be like, hey, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Can you help me do that? I would also say the second point is you don't have to live where you grew up. I know it's one of those things, but it's how it is, right? So like, let's say you live in Texas, right? Let's say like you live in Dallas, Texas, and your family and everybody grew up in like the central part of Dallas, Texas. If you've looked at the prices overall, that part is going to get really expensive if you're trying to buy. And I know it's really discouraging, but if you go 2 hours out, right, it gets a bit cheap. When you're in the sticks, it gets a bit cheaper. So you might have to buy somewhere where it's a good bit away from your job, because that's the only way to do it. That's just how it works. It's just supply and demand. More people want to live by the city than by the outskirts, right? And the thing is, moving states is an option. I was in Florida, young man in Florida trying to get ahead. I want to say absolutely impossible. I've talked to pretty much every young guy in Florida. It's absolutely impossible because we're competing with the people that are retiring. That's the thing. They're retiring. They have all of this money. They have basically their 401ks, whatever, that they've been saving up for the past 60 freaking years, and they're using that to buy houses and buy assets in Florida. Also, the investment firms, they love buying houses in Florida a lot of the time, just because, it's sunny year-round, you don't have to deal with the snow. If you think about it, the snow is a huge maintenance issue for these like big investment firms. So they don't really want to deal with it. They want to deal with climates that are a bit, better. That's why they like, buying near like Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, not included, but not limited to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, right? They like kind of buying in that area. And the thing is, if you go out to like some of these other states, right? Like if you go to Mississippi, right? If you go to like Ohio, um, Kentucky, Indiana, like it gets a lot more affordable. And the other part too is like it doesn't have to be a dream house. That's the thing too. It doesn't. The third point, it doesn't have to be a dream house. Because the thing is, if you just rent, like renting, I know this sounds stupid, but hopefully you guys get the point of what I'm saying. Renting is 100% interest. Like when you rent, all of that money's just gone. And when you have a mortgage, most of the money's gone, but at least you get some of it in your piggy bank and you control an asset that at some point is going to go up. So, in summary, like what I did was I tried my best to raise my income. I talked to my banker so I could figure out how I can actually get this accomplished. And then the last part was I moved. I had to move way out of state to another state where it's way cheaper, right? That's the thing. I've talked to several people where they grew up in California. They want to live in California. No, don't move. I mean, if you're okay with enduring that your entire life and paying and making somebody else make a ton of money, cool, go ahead and do that. I'm not telling you guys what to do with your life, but I'm just saying if you want to get like ahead, set yourself up. And personally, as a guy, I think that's like part of my role as a guy to make sure my family's good. Yeah, like buying a house is a part of that, in my opinion. So hopefully this helps. If you guys have any questions about the process, let me know. But I would say the main thing is talk to your banker. You might be able to buy now and you have no idea. And I would say for the last thing, do not overextend yourself, because that's the thing is they'll get a house that exactly what they can afford. The problem with that is jobs are inconsistent. You could lose a job and then your income's gone and then you lost your asset. You lost your house. So just wanted to put all that out there. Hopefully this helps. And if you guys like videos like this, definitely let me know. I'm trying to get locked in here and lose some weight and have some salmon. But I was just thinking about it. I was like, man, this is so discouraging. Like, especially as a young guy, the whole process is so discouraging. And it used to be way easier for the other generation. So it kind of, definitely pisses me off a little bit. But hopefully this helps somebody out there. See you guys.